Okay, and now we're going to get social, and we're going to push our online portfolio into other social media platforms. For example, Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Vimeo, and Google Plus are all great platforms to get your media in the faces of other people. Now, networking on these social media platforms is also important because that develops a following and also a members-based area, and it gets your stuff on a much larger scale as you have more social platforms going. With Google and your media in place, I suggest you set up some of these accounts. And in my case, what I do is I link my accounts so they function and work off of one another. For example, if I do a YouTube video, it's automatically linking and pushing the information into my Twitter account. This is a great way to streamline your workflow and manage your social networks. Here we have some perfect examples of some social networking sites that can help you out. We have Facebook, where you can set up a business site and a personal site. We have Twitter, where you can post tweets about your designs and everything you're up to. And we also have YouTube, where you can do videos, hosting your designs, or any sort of things you find interesting within the design world. And those three there can make up a solid foundation for your social networking. Once again, you don't necessarily need to go in depth to every single one of them, as the three I just described should be good enough. Now that we're at this point and we're going to be heading towards the business aspect of our online portfolio, I think it's important to start working on our company identity and what we need to do to create that and make it a strong presence. Well, we're going to head back over to Adobe Illustrator, where we're going to turn our name into a logo. Now, you're going to put in a lot of thought of the company name that is going to best represent you and what you want to call your company. So, brainstorm, write down a whole bunch of ideas, get a lot of feedback, and go with something solid because we are branding you, and we don't just want to have to rebrand you in a month when you decide what you've created is not to your liking. So really hammer those ideas out and come to something solid that you really want to use. And right now, off of the top of my head, for this tutorial purpose, I'm going to go with a fictitious name like Skyline Design. So I'm going to take out my text box and go Skyline Design. So let's go full on into our design here. We'll zoom in, and I've decided I'm going to be calling this Skyline Design, and that is how I'm going to be branding myself, my online portfolio, and my business, which of course we're building up for a business here. We're designers, we want to make money, we want connections, and we want business. So in order to be found in today's dog-eat-dog world of business, we really want to stand out. So let's really put this into overdrive. Now this section and going into the next section and probably the next 50 sections I ever do, we're just going to go heavy on this because I want to be in the design studio of Illustrator and just give you hands-on techniques and training here to hammer out something really, really good that you're going to like and be cool with. Now, Skyline Design, I actually own a URL called skyline.xyz. So I'm going to base my concepts off that alone, and you're going to decide that for yourself, of course. But we have a multitude of texts we can work with, and I think right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my font size way up there, and you can hardly see anything because we need to also increase our text box there. So I think what I do, I did like 600 by 400 pixels on this design, and that'll give us more than enough room to at least hammer this out in this area. We can increase it, we can decrease it, we can make that artboard, I love that sound, any size we want. Let's just go all the way right now because we're going to be designing and we want plenty of room to see all the great stuff that's going to be going on. So here we go. Back into here. We're going to have to focus on this. So maybe at that point we'll leave the text for now and let's concentrate on some visuals. And well, obviously Skyline, that's kind of a dead giveaway. I'm going to go with the skyscraper buildings branding. And do I want to take this time to sketch out some ideas and work out some concepts? Sure, I could. You know, I can just go with a boxed layout. I can think of maybe putting in some buildings, making it like all black, and within this black I can have my text. So this extensive process that will take you a long time is obviously being accomplished within a matter of minutes for me, but we're working out solid design concepts to get this logo looking how we want it. So of course your text in there, we can break apart all our elements, we can play with that, and this are just basic ideas. And with that, backspace, nothing written in stone. Box that out, backspace. So that's the idea we're going to go with there. And what else can we incorporate in this online branding of ours? Well, let's say some sort of catchphrase or something that describes what we do. So for example, box out some content there and it'll be skyline.xyz modern graphic design. And we increase the size of our box here using our black arrow up over here. And then there we go. So modern graphic design, skyline.xyz, modern graphic design. Good start. Now time to put this way up here and start getting into our visual, which I said are going to be buildings. Now everything I want planned out at some point. Let's start with a light gray will be the color of that, but maybe we can just do box drawing first, and I won't get too intricate, but I will just sort of lay out I will lay out some buildings first, and then we can play around and see where that goes. I'll wireframe this, so can take our boxed area, and buildings are going to be in front of each other and everything. So what we can do is, no, maybe we'll just simply copy, paste, 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 paste. So many different ways we could have done this or do this, but we'll go for some basic modern design buildings. Now we're going to cube everything, so we might as well line that up, and we can overlap them. It really doesn't matter because they're going to be all different sizes, and it's easy enough to pick those sizes just by resizing the box. And you can go in halfway between these things. You kind of know where they sit or where they are. Bring them down like that. You're going to want to play around with it. That can be like kind of a wider building maybe in there. Bring this over. That'll be a tall one. And I don't think we want to go with any gaps, because that's not going to work for us. But we're just going to have a representation of buildings there, even if we want to copy, paste that out. And we don't want to paste it in place, we just want to eyeball it. We've got snapping going on. So just like so, which is kind of neat as is. But we just wipe through that, box it out, and we'll stick a fill of gray in there. What's it look like with its stroke still on? Oh, it looks kind of interesting with its stroke on, but we weren't really going to keep the stroke on there. It's just to give you an example of the wireframe. There you go. That's sort of what we're trying to accomplish there. And once we have it like that, we're really kind of liking that, we're going to select everything. We're going to right click it, and we're going to group it. So we don't have to, because if we go over to our layers, we don't have to deal with whatever that was, 20 different separate box layers. Just grouping it all right there. Call it city. And that's going to give us a chance to serve as our background for our box logo. Now, as you can see on the layers panel, I'm going to move city down underneath my text. Therefore, on the layers, it's going to be on the top layer instead of underneath of it and hidden. Now, with our text, we're going to experiment. I think I would like to carve that out using the pen tool and make it completely and absolutely 100% original. But we'll play around with some text and get some stuff going on there. The simple design is also kind of interesting too. But once again, the more you experiment and the more you play around, the better you're going to know what's going to work. And I've talked before, and I'll just bring it up right now, about tracing your text and making it original. Taking a pre-existing text or a picture of text you've drawn, and just by using the pen tool you can manipulate it in a way to trace the text, but then you can also go in and move the points to make the text your own. And I can show you that right now. I've closed off my points. Now I can move my Z, and with my arrow tool have the ability to go in and change those points, make them wavy, give them radiuses, change them around, manipulate them in a way that is completely different from the original text it was. And we're going to get right into that in the next section and continue putting our business portfolio logo together, and we're going to cover extensively the business side of this and what we're doing.